Good morning, Chavra. We're going to begin the Tanya Shir on page 76 in your Chayenu for the 17th of Menachem Av. The sun's out here. Okay. Imagine a genius having to condense all his wisdom into one word. Impossible, right? An infinitely greater contraction was required for Hashem to contain himself and articulate, quote unquote, creation by means of the 10 utterances. We learned above that the Zohar teaches who makes the holy name every day, he who gives tzedakah to the poor. Beautiful. The relevance of this answer, however, remains obscure. Now, therefore, equipped with this foregoing insights, we revert to the question with which this section opened. How does giving tzedakah to the poor make a name for Hashem? What's the connection? So the Alter Rebbe explains, when it comes to man, l'mashal, somebody who is very, an incredibly intellectually smart person with tremendous wisdom. That man is able to somehow contract his vast thoughts into one single letter of his speech. This is a stupendous contraction and a great descent for his wondrous wisdom. This is the analogy that we're using when it comes to Hashem contracting himself in order to say the word to create the world. It's like, but much, much greater. This is just a mashal. The Alter Rebbe says over and over again that every mashal is going to have holes. And when we're talking about a man contracting his wisdom to say one word, obviously so much greater when it comes to Hashem contracting himself to say the word kasher b'dvar Hashem shamayim nasu. Nevertheless, when we learn, when we read the Chumash, we read the Torah about the 6 days of creation, it says that heavens and earth, the heavens were made by the word of Hashem. B'dvar Hashem shamayim nasu. Sheishis mei bereishis u'beruch piv kol tzavam. And they're hosts by the breath of his mouth. How? He ois hey shel shem havaya baruch hu asa kalila. Not even a whole word, but one letter. One light letter, hey, of the 4-letter name of Hashem. This is not only a single letter, but in a certain sense, an insubstantial one. Remember, we talked about the Yud being the contraction of everything, being the beginning of bringing down godliness, all in one point. And then the Hey, the second letter, starts to spread it out and bring it down. And then the Vav brings it down. So what do you need the last Hey for? It seems to be extra. Sometimes in a word, when you don't pronounce the Hey, it seems like it's just the tag-along. Take the word neshama, for example, soul. You could have a komatz under the mem, you don't really need the Hey. So it seems to be an extra letter. The reason why I use neshama as an example is because with Yud Ke Vav Ke, we don't say that word and we don't even know how to pronounce it, so we're not going to go there. But anyway, this is only a single letter. This is written as follows. These are the chronicles of the heavens and earth, meaning when they were created. But when we revocalize the Hebrew letters of this word, our Chachamim are able to read it if it were simultaneously pronounced Behei Baram. So we have Behi Baram created, but we could also use Behei Baram. The verse would now mean these are the chronicles of the heavens and earth with the letter Hey that he created. He created them, the heavens and the earth. In Mekor HaTes, Ma'amarais shenimshechu mimaimer rishon bereshis denamer ma'amarhu. Ted, I need you. This is very technical. So the letter Hey is the source of the next. He said 10 utterances. Hashem created the world, but really it was the letter Hey, and the other 9 come from the letter Hey, from Bereshis, from the beginning, which itself is a created utterance. Ibechinas Chachma Hanikreis Reishis, and it's identical with the Sfira of Chachma, which is called Reishis, the beginning, as in the phrase Reishis Chachma, the beginning of wisdom. It's like when you have wisdom, there's a beginning to that wisdom. There's the initial flash of the idea, right? So the descent of Chachma, the source of the other 9 creative utterances, into Malchus, the lowest of the spheres, involves an intense degree of contraction. That's the biggest understatement we ever said when we said an intense degree. Like a phenomenally intense degree of contraction. Once it's contracted, from there, 9 more utterances can come, but the first one of the 10, at that time, at the beginning of creation, this downward flow from Chachma to Malchus occurred without any effort from below whatsoever. As it's written, Ki Adam Ayin Laver, there was no man to work. There was no man to put an effort. You can't expect the Bnei Yisrael to do their part where there was no Bnei Yisrael. Forget about Bnei Yisrael, there was no man yet created. Heavens and earth, everything had to go top down. It's interesting that we mentioned this as we just entered into the Tkufa, the time period after we from the 15th of Av and onward, we already begin to say Ksiva v'chsima toiva, already starting to prepare for the new year. And that's all the efforts come from our initiative, especially during the month of Elul. Have a good Shabbos. I knew you'd be back. Our efforts begin in the month of Elul, and then Hashem returns the favor in Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, showering us with blessings, culminating on Sukkot and Simchas Torah, etc. Anyway, so there was no man to do their part. It's occurred solely because he desired to act with kindness. Hashem decided this is the way he's going to create it, and how, and what, and when, and where. But we didn't do anything. We didn't daven for it. We weren't alive. There was nothing to. There were no people yet. It's also written that the world is built by kindness. And this is the meaning, another interpretation of the pasuk, that these are the chronicles of heaven and earth, meaning when they were created. So when we transpose the Hebrew letters of this word, we take the same word, bihibaram, that he created, we also can come up with the word be'avraham. Avraham was the attribute of kindness, of chesed, of giving, of love. Ki chesed Avram, the kindness is to Avram. Since Avram embodies the attribute of chesed, the verse, the pasuk, thus intimates that heavens and earth were created through the attribute of chesed. Not that anyone deserved it. Hashem just decided he's going to give. Paul. After However, after the creation of man, to work it, our job is to work for 6 days. On the 7th day, we could rest. By the way, 6 days we work. That includes Sunday. It's very important. It's a new invention not to work on Sunday, but every single day, it's important for man to work. And what's our work? To draw down the divine flow and the energy and the spirituality from Hashem. The Shekhinah making a place for Hashem down here. So it's spiritual work. Of course, we also have to do physical work. The physical work is spiritual work if we focus everything on what Hashem wants us to do. So how do we do that? Now that we're here, now that we're doing our part, so where does that? Where do we get the blessings from? From doing our part. It's through all the acts of tzedakah and kindness, charity and kindness that Jews perform in this world. Does these good deeds draw down divine influence from the Yud of the divine name, from the level of Chachma? That's the beginning of the divine name, to the final Hey, the level of Malchus. And in this way, good deeds bring together and make, so to speak, the name of Hashem and draw it down into this world. So that was the question, and this is the answer. The question is, how do we make the name of Hashem? Through giving tzedakah, through doing acts of kindness. You're going away? You'll be here. If somebody says, all I have is Torah, meaning he doesn't do any acts of chesed, then even Torah he doesn't have. Rather, one ought to engage in Torah in the performance of acts of loving kindness. I remember years ago, Ted, we got stuck on the Garden State, and a Yid from Lakewood gave us a ride all the way to where we had to go. We were traveling to the passport office in Philadelphia. It was crazy, amazing story. I'll get, I don't want to say all the details now. I'll just keep it short. But he kept on insisting that he wasn't a chesed guy. Like, I'm not a chesed guy. I'm not a chesed guy. As he's taking us 20 minutes out of the way to Philadelphia where we needed to go, he kept saying, I'm not a chesed guy. I get up, I go to shul, I'm quiet, I have my little place, I daven, that's it. Not a chesed guy. I'm like, could have fooled me. Anyway, the point is, Kihine Hagan the Oiraisa Mechach Benafkes, the Reis Mekaim Oma, Biskayim, Oma, Viinun the Law. So this is coming on the heels of what? Did I skip something? Elalasik Bateres Milas Chasadim. Sorry. So yeah, I skipped that line. Basically, a person says, I just learned Torah, I'm not a chesed guy. Then he has nothing, he doesn't have Torah. He has to learn Torah and act in a kind, loving way to his fellow. Comes hand in hand. Can't have one and not the other. As we're saying, the Torah derives from Chachma, and the world subsists by virtue of the Torah and those who discourse in the Torah. Another nusach is v'ashra'is. By speaking of the Torah, subjects elicit illumination and the flow of godly energy. Chachma ilah. For the supreme Chachma, the source of Torah into the plane of okay. So Kamaim Rabbi says, our sages have said, with regard to Torah scholars, don't read Bay Noyach, Ba Noyach, your children, but Bay Noyach, your builders. For they built the world through their study of Torah. Nevertheless, this flow of Chachma into the letters of speech is a great descent. To accomplish this, it's necessary to arouse supernal chesed, which, like water, is drawn down from the highest place to the lowest place. A means of an arousal from below. We have to do our part, which is acts of charity and kindness here in this world. Thereby, whereby one diffuses life and kindness to revive the spirit of the humble and downcast. By doing so, one draws down supernal kindness so that the vitality of Chachma descends to the letters of speech, the source of all creation. So this is what the pasuk means. Let not the wise man glory in his wisdom, but in this let him glory in understanding and knowing me. So he shouldn't be excited about the knowledge that he has, but that he figured out a way to connect to Hashem. And how do we do that, by the way? With doing a mitzvah. Be the smartest man in the world, but if you don't do the mitzvah, you're not connecting to Hashem. And you have to do the mitzvah in such a manner that it brings about the fulfillment of the phrase, I am Hashem who acts with chesed. So we see that wisdom is justifiably glorified when it leads to acts of kindness. Now you know, you're so smart, now you know what to do and how to do it. Chaim, take also the other papers while you're at it, please. Whatever those are, if we have to put them in Shemus. Ki hachesed hu hamamshich chaye hachachma lamata v'im lav hari nikra chachmasi levadoi v'li hamshachas chaim imena chas v'shalom. It's chesed, the kindly conduct of man here below that results in the fulfillment of the pasuk. I am Hashem who acts with kindness, meaning the chesed of asiyah, that acts with the vitality of chachma to issue downward into the letters of speech, the source of all created beings. Being love, as we said, in the absence of this kindly conduct, the Torah study that the person undertakes is called his wisdom alone. If he doesn't give tzedakah, it's only the person's wisdom. He cannot learn Torah and connect to Hashem without also chesed. And finally, here I got this. Finally, and there's no downward flow of life from it, God forbid. Okay, we end here, but basically when we learn Torah, we also have to be kind. We also have to think about others. Oh, I'm busy learning Torah, I don't have time for you. A guy comes around collecting. No, sorry. Takeaway is Hashem created the world by his own volition. Nobody asked him to because there was nobody around. Nobody was alive yet. Sustaining the world after that, he gave over to us, to you, to each and every one of us. And it's our job to bring down the energy of Hashem. How? Through studying Torah and performance of mitzvahs, particularly tzedakah and acts of kindness. Have a good day and a wonderful Shabbos, everyone. We'll see you on the other side.